guys. I know with gradings coming up here very soon, we've gotten a lot of questions regarding how do gradings work? How does Dark Wolf's promotions work? What are the criteria and all of that?
So if everybody's figured out, our fundamentals are Dark Wolf fundamentals. It's what we, as a gym, it's what we have identified as the way we want to do business.
Correct.
Our gradings, if you go to different jiu-jitsu schools or martial arts schools or anything else, they are all different. So ultimately speaking, you can't use any other as the foundation. We have our method that we do. And so I guess that's what we wanted to.
Yeah, we wanted to cover today, just to kind of help people understand a little bit. You know, why was my kid not on the grading list? Why is my kid on the grading list? You know, same with the adults. You know, why am I not on the grading list? Why am I on the grading list? Give you guys a little bit of background. So
first off, you gotta be here. if you're not here, which is always the one I find interesting. Like, I haven't seen somebody for like 2 months, and they're like, "Why am I not on the list?"
Yeah, you got to be here.
That's always the one that I always find to be the most intriguing. Obviously, time is a factor. It's not the only factor, but being here at Dark Wolf is obviously and needs to be a factor.
And also, you need to be jiu-jitsu classes.
Well, this is what we offer rank in.
Yes.
So if you're showing up in boxing,
kickboxing,
what does that
wrestling.
have to do? What does that have to do with jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, nothing.
You know.
So we loosely follow some IBJJF guidelines as far as belt.
Well, first part, IBJJF has multiple
options, especially
which
with kids.
Are only suggestions. They are not set in stone. It actually states in there, you know, for them to kind of pick and choose, you know, how each individual school wants to do their belt systems and the like.
So, a couple factors that go in. Well, let's talk about kids first. So, kids do move a little bit quicker, but there's a lot more belts, and it's going to take them a lot longer to get to their ultimate goal, which would be at 16, hopefully, to go into blue belt if they are where they need to be.
Right. Or when they turn 16, they transition into an adult white belt
with a certain number of stripes.
As when we circle up, if a youth member is ever able or offered to be in an adult class, when we line up in the circles, are you recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Just making sure.
when we line up in our circle, youth ranks are the lowest ranking members.
Yes.
And then the adult white belts begin.
Correct.
So I use the phrase that no youth rank ever equals an adult white belt.
Correct.
So when they reach the age of 16, which is the minimum age that they can have a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, it does not mean that they get a blue belt.
Correct.
In jiu-jitsu. That is just the minimum age.
Right.
We know that we've had a few members that have transitioned from the youth rank into their blue belts. But when you talk to the adult members, those youth ranks stand out head and shoulders above, I mean, to the point where they're even competitive against our other adult members. So
Correct.
It is not a guarantee, nor, you know, I don't know what the word is, you know.
It's not a foregone conclusion.
It's not you turn 16 and
you get magical blue belt.
You get your blue belt. Unless you like injuries and getting smashed.
Yeah.
That blue belt does come with an idea that you are knowledgeable and able.
Right.
And so ultimately speaking, for an individual to go in with a blue belt and not meet at least that basic requirement,
setting you up for failure.
And they're going to get smashed.
Yeah.
Because ultimately speaking, I mean, I roll with white belts differently than I roll with blue belts. I roll with purple belts differently than I roll with blue belts. And that's how everybody looks at it, junior or not.
Right. So there's several factors that goes into our decision to put your child on our grading list. One is the time that they've been with us. 2 is how many classes have they attended. 3 is their competency for the level of techniques that we feel they should know going into that rank. And 3 is their overall attitude and the way they present themselves and present Dark Wolf MMA. That's important as well. If their behavior is not on point, they're not going to get on the grading list.
Now, other things to think about. We hear this, unfortunately, mostly from the parents. Why is that kid grading when my kid does so much better than them? First off, I do not appreciate comments of that nature, because I don't see a black belt on your waist. If you question, and we've had some individuals that are like, well, why are they? Well, if you question the rank that we're choosing to give to somebody else, then question the rank around your own waist. When you go to school, there are C students, B students, A students. There can only be one valedictorian. There only gets to be one who stands out, who is the creme de la creme. There's only one. And then there's a lot of others that work very hard. Okay? Just because you don't see it, hate to say it, your opinion is really not that significant. I'm here every day. Melissa's here with the kids way more than I am, things of that nature. And it's about watching the growth of them, not seeing whether or not they can kick ass.
Yeah, it's not
on the floor.
It's not a competition as far as this goes. So just because kid A can beat kid B does not mean kid A is going to get promoted faster. Kid B may have the ability to understand the concepts, and in drilling they're great, but maybe they freeze up a little bit in competition type roles. And the other kid may be a hyper competitor. They're going to be, it's going to be based on their knowledge base.
Well, and I hate to say it, but sometimes we see people who are capable of a lot more and choose to do less.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we see people who
Have
legit are struggling, but they are pushing beyond their own capacity.
Right.
They're pushing
has
above and
meaning.
beyond. That is also another different animal.
So basic timelines, you cannot hold every kid to this timeline. Every kid is not going to go on this timeline. Basic timelines for our belts is at white belt, brand new kid, approximately once a month, we will consider them for a stripe, potentially, if they're progressing the way they are supposed to, if their behavior's on point, all of that. So that goes for 5 stripes. On the 6th, where they would potentially be going for this, they get their gray-white. They are invited to
Should
grade
be approximately
gray-white.
6 months.
Approximately 6 months. At gray-white, it again goes.
Again, though, caveat: you don't get to determine that 6 months.
No.
That is a general guideline.
Correct.
Some may move faster. I have given kids multiple stripes simply based on their aptitude when they come in. Usually, you find that they're older kids when they come in.
They may progress a little faster than a 6-year-old.
They progress a little faster, right?
And then gray-white, that's going to go once a month for 5 stripes.
For about another 6 months.
For another 6 months. Then we're going to go into gray belt. Now, this is where things slow down and people start getting confused. They're like, why is my kid not grading every month? It goes to every 3 months. They will be eligible for a stripe for 3 stripes. So it'll be about a year from gray to gray-black. From gray-black to then, so from then on, it's going to be the same thing. 1 stripe every 3 months is eligibility to the next belt in a year. So it goes gray to gray-black, gray-black to yellow-white, yellow-white to yellow-black, yellow-black.
Yellow-white to yellow.
Yellow-white to yellow, yellow to yellow-black, orange-white to orange, orange to orange-black, orange-black to green-white, green to green-black. By that point, they should be approximately 16. If they started at 6, they'll be about 15, 16. They'll be eligible at that point for adult rank. And like we said, they may or may not be eligible for a blue belt, depends on where they are. They may be a white belt with 1 stripe. They may be a white belt with 2 stripes, 3 stripes, 4 stripes, or they could go into their blue. Just depends on where we feel their skill level is and what they're ready for. Now adults is completely different. Adults, we have white, blue, purple, brown, and black. Adults are going to be eligible approximately every 6 months. Now, caveat being, a super stud wrestler comes in here with already a pretty heavy skill set. They're progressing really fast. We may elect to progress them a little bit quicker.
Or we have some people that legit do You know, the average person does 2 to 3 classes a week.
A week.
We have some individuals that are doing 6,
Yeah.
sometimes 9 classes.
On the flip side of that,
per
you might
week.
have somebody who's doing 1 class every 2 weeks. They're not going to progress to our normal pace. That's not going to be an every 6-month type situation. That's going to extend your time. Also, on that, we're talking about jujitsu classes. Fundamental classes are great, but they do not, you can't do just fundamental classes and progress through the ranks.
I don't want to insult anybody, but you're not graduating college doing basic math.
Correct.
Okay? Fundamentals class
Important.
is very important because it is your foundation, but it is designed for beginners to come in to help them become a little bit more acclimated
Right.
to what we're doing, to help them kind of understand maybe a little bit of lingo, the positions and things of that nature. It is also there for advanced ranks to kind of touch up on those foundations because it gets cracks. You got to touch up on that foundation. But that being said, it is a basic
Right.
foundational level class. It is not where you will earn rank.
Correct.
It is only where you will earn. It's not even, you're not even learning technically all the basics. You're learning the foundational pieces, basic movement, basic positions.
Right. But in order to put the full scope of jiu-jitsu together, you're going to need to do the regular jiu-jitsu classes as well. And like we said before, your striking classes, your wrestling classes, those are great, but they are not going to count towards ranking up in jiu-jitsu.
Correct.
So you're looking at about 2.5 years per belt on a normal cycle of training and
Within
normal
Dark
progression within Darkwolf.
Other schools can do things differently,
But
that is 100% up to them.
yeah,
And I mean, if that's what floats their boat, that's what floats their boat. That's not mine.
we found that this works really well to keep people on pace where they should be, to keep them competitive. If you just do decide to do competitions, we don't want you to go out there and get smoked. We don't want you to get out there and get smashed. We also don't want you to go out there and be a sandbagger either. So we found this is kind of the sweet spot, that if somebody who's doing normal progression, normal amounts
Right.
of classes,
Now,
can get up to speed pretty quickly.
I know some places you can get your blue belt in a year.
It's not us.
I mean, but if you're chasing belts,
You're in it for the wrong reason.
then well, I'm not sure you're necessarily the kind of student that I want.
Yeah. So
So, because remember, we also get to pick and choose who we want to represent
This is true.
us.
this is true.
That's why, ultimately speaking, when we grade somebody, they come in as a member. Okay, you train. The graduation from one belt to another is not part of your tuition.
Correct.
Okay, that is not something that you're entitled to.
Yep.
That is something that we, based on an individual's performance, attendance, attitudes within the gym, and the like, that we get to bestow
Yes.
upon someone as basically a reward for that work.
Right. Now, for us, we do our kids gradings once a month. Doesn't mean your kid's going to grade every month, but we do our kids grading once a month. Our adult gradings we do quarterly. So about every 3 months, we do an adult grading. You're not going to be invited to all gradings. Now, if you are not invited to grade, you are more than welcome to come for the training. It is an amazing training session.
Great day. I
It's a
like
great day.
gradings.
Suggestions would be, 1, be here 10 minutes early for your grading. Come in your gi and your belt. Have water on hand, because it is a pretty intense training session. Have a small breakfast so that you're not overloaded with food, but you do have energy to push through. And make sure you're good and hydrated and you have a good rest. Especially the adult gradings can be rather intense. And just be prepared to learn, be open. No grading is identical. They're always a little bit different.
Right. Now, for the youth, stripes are something that when you are invited for a grading, if someone cannot make it to the grading, we do not withhold a stripe
Right.
from someone who is invited to grade. But belts will only be handed at the gradings
Correct.
themselves. So
Yes.
if an individual can't make it to a particular striping session, that's fine. We don't withhold a stripe
Most of the
once
time,
they're invited.
What we'll say is we'll double them up at the next one.
Correct. But belts must go through the grading process.
Absolutely, 100%.
Correct. And at that moment in time, if they can't make it to the grading, unlike the stripes, like I said, if they earn the first stripe and they're invited to the grading, okay, then at that moment in time, then the next one we'll try to double them up. But if they fail to make it to the belt grading, then basically it's like their time is on pause.
Right, until they make it to their belt grading.
Until they make it to their belt grading.
Yes.
Then once they get their belt, then they get put back onto their timeline under the new
Correct.
rank.
Yes. And same thing, if you take a pause from classes for say 3 months, then that's going to pause you for 3 months. You know, when you get back, and
Or
then
more.
when you get back, or more, because when you
Or
get
more.
back, if you've lost some skill level, it may take you a little longer to get back
Typically
to where you
speaking,
are.
as people disappear, it's not I pick up where I left off.
No.
The way I like to describe it is kind of like a video game. So you're going along, and while you're training, you're building your power meter.
Yeah.
And when you take that time off, that power meter is going back down. So it's not just I disappear and whenever I come back, I pick up at exactly where I left off.
Right.
If you're gone for a very short amount of time period, yeah, you pretty much pick up right where you left off. If you're gone for a while, depending on how long you're gone, I mean...
Our gradings usually last around 2 hours for the kids, possibly a little bit longer for the adults. It just depends on how many we have grading up. It's a training session with a what we call a shark tank, especially
No, this is only for those going for belts,
Correct.
not those going for stripes.
right. If they're going for stripes, they're going to just be part of the line of kids or adults that are going to be running through the ones that have the belts. It's a way to push the kids and the adults past where they believe they're able to go. It pushes their cardio, it pushes their mental strength. It's super, trying to find the words. It's very inspirational, and it ends up with the kid or the adult fully believing that they deserve the rank that they're being put into. Because we get that a lot. I don't think I'm ready. Yes, we believe you're ready. We have to make you believe that you're ready.
Yes.
So hopefully that answers some of your questions. Obviously, me and Dave are always available for questions. Understand we've been doing this a really long time. We've been teaching kids, 25 years at least, if not longer?
I've been about 30.
About 30 years. So we've been teaching kids and adults for about 30 years. We've been doing this a long time, and we've kind of morphed our ideas of how to level people up through the years, and we think we have a pretty good thing going. So hopefully you guys are on board. Everybody understands it. If you have any questions, hit us up. Any final words, love?
Depends on the questions.
True story. True story. But hopefully this helps, guys. Good?
Sure.
All right, cool. I think